Something shifted the moment your image hit the screen. A spark igniting in the air, a pulse of energy that no one could ignore. It wasn't just another post, another fleeting moment in an endless scroll. It was something else, something charged with an unspoken force. People stopped, eyes widened, conversations cut short. Because this wasn't just about an image, it was about impact, about presence, about the way certain things demand to be seen without ever asking. And the truth? They felt it before they even understood it. First, a pause, subtle, almost imperceptible. Then a ripple, spreading from one to the next, a shift in the atmosphere as realization crept in. Someone leans in, their breath caught in their throat. Another tilts their head, trying to put words to the feeling curling in their chest. And then, someone finally dares to say what they're all thinking. This is different, because it isn't just about angles or lighting. It isn't about the technical, the surface level. It's about the way you occupy space, the way your presence refuses to shrink, the way a single glance from you carries more weight than entire conversations. They noticed, even if they don't know why, even if they don't fully understand it yet. You weren't just seen, you were felt, and now they can't look away. Before I formed thee in the belly I knew thee, and before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee. Jeremiah 1:5. Some people walk into a room, and the air itself seems to shift. It's not about what they say or do, it's about who they are. You can feel it before you understand it. The weight of something unseen, something placed within them, long before they ever stepped into the moment. Call it destiny, call it purpose, call it an anointing. Whatever it is, it cannot be faked, cannot be taught, cannot be borrowed. It's given. And when it happens, when someone carries that presence, it doesn't need an introduction. People recognize it before they can explain it. First, curiosity, then a hush, a pause, an almost imperceptible shift in the atmosphere. They don't say it outright, but everyone feels it. Something is different. He doesn't demand attention. He doesn't chase recognition. But somehow, the space bends around him, as if adjusting to his presence. There's no forced bravado, no exaggerated confidence, just a quiet certainty, a stillness that speaks louder than words. Some people have to make themselves known. Others simply are. Someone leans in, eyes narrowing as they study him. It's the way he moves, they murmur, like he already knows what's coming. There's no hesitation in his posture, no stiffness either. It's not the stance of someone trying to prove something. It's the stance of someone who's already seen the path ahead and has accepted it. Another voice joins in. Look at his eyes, and suddenly, they all see it. He's not just looking at the camera, he's looking through it, as if he sees something no one else does, something just beyond the frame. It unsettles some, inspires others, but no one can ignore it. Because this isn't about a photograph. It's not about angles or lighting. It's about something deeper, something woven into the fabric of his very being. Some people are shaped by their surroundings, molded by what the world throws at them. Others shape the world just by existing in it. That's what it is. Someone finally breathes, the weight of understanding settling in. He's not waiting to be chosen. He already knows he is. And whether they like it or not, they can't look away. And then there's the setting, the almost orchestrated composition of the scene, the kind of image that lingers in memory, the kind that doesn't just capture a moment, but turns it into something greater. A remark is made about the backdrop, how it frames him too well to be coincidence. Shadows seem to mold around his form, not swallowing, but defining it. The light above, flickering like a heartbeat, rhythmic, deliberate. Someone zooms in, noting how every element feels like part of a larger picture, as if the universe had sketched it out before the shutter even clicked. The illumination catches unevenly, one half of his face dipped in shadow, the other touched by a glow too subtle to be accidental. This is where the whispers begin. Is he caught in between, a bridge between two opposing forces? Is this a crossroads, a threshold moment, seconds before stepping into something irreversible? It's not just the setting they analyze, it's the posture, the stillness, the way every detail seems poised at the edge of something vast. Dear brothers and sisters, the peace of God be with you today. I am here to remind you of a profound truth. Our existence is grounded in God's divine plan, unshaken by the temporary concerns of the world. As the Bible says, whatever is done in faith will return to God in abundant blessing. Luke 6:38. Like that great oak tree, our roots are deeply rooted in God's universal truth. Every step we take, every stand we take, is secured by His strength. And now, you are being offered the opportunity to be part of that blessing. When you use the Super Thank You button and donate $100, this gesture will come back to you 100-fold in abundance. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Matthew 5:14. There are some people you just can't ignore. No matter how much the world tries to look past them, no matter how many voices try to downplay their presence, they remain unshaken, undeniable. They don't blend into the crowd. They don't shrink to make others comfortable. They exist with weight, with intention, with something placed inside of them long before they ever stepped into the moment. And when someone like that moves, the world notices. At first, they thought it was just another image, just another frame in the endless flood of content. But now, the focus has shifted. This isn't just about what's captured, it's about what it confirms. Because this isn't about angles or lighting or composition. It's about presence. It's about the effect he has, not just on the space around him, but on the people watching. Some don't understand it. Some don't even like it. But none of them can ignore it. Why does this feel different? Someone asks. The word's almost an afterthought, but they already know the answer. Most people pass through life unnoticed, leaving nothing behind but the faintest trace of their existence. But him? He shifts things. His presence presses against the air, altering the rhythm of the moment. It's in the way he moves, not demanding attention, not reaching for validation, just being. Some are drawn to it, caught in the force of something they can't quite define. Others resist it, unsettled by the presence of someone who refuses to be small. But whether they admire it or resent it, one thing remains true. No one is indifferent. And as the image spreads, so does the unease. It's not what they see that unsettles them. It's what they can't. Because deep down, they all recognize it. The weight of something greater. The certainty of someone who walks as if he already knows where he's going. And the realization that maybe, just maybe, this was never just another moment. Maybe it was always meant to be noticed. For now, we see through a glass, darkly, but then face to face. 1 Corinthians 13:12. There are things hidden in plain sight, things seen not with the eyes, but with the spirit. Some moments are loud, undeniable, demanding attention, like a thunderclap splitting the sky. But others are quieter. They do not announce themselves, and yet they refuse to be ignored. What if the power is not in what is revealed, but in what is withheld? What if the true weight of a thing is not in its presence, but in its absence? Look at this image, and you'll understand. Or perhaps you won't. Not right away. Because this isn't just a picture. It is a threshold, a doorway half open, a question waiting to be answered. It doesn't beg for your focus, but it holds it all the same. And that silence, that stillness, carries a weight heavier than words. It's as if something lingers just beyond reach, unseen yet pressing. A whisper carried on a wind no one else can feel. They sense it first, in the spaces between. An emptiness that is not empty at all. The way the light refuses to fully illuminate. The way the shadows do not simply fall, but stretch, as if they know something the rest of the world does not. Someone leans closer, trying to grasp it, trying to name the thing that stirs in their chest. Another tilts their head, watching the edges of the frame, swearing they seem to shift, not violently, not overtly, but just enough to make them wonder if what they're seeing is all there is. And then someone speaks. It's the darkness, they say, voice hushed but certain. Not just behind him, around him, wrapping him like a mantle, like something unseen is standing just beyond the light. The words sit heavy in the air. They don't say it out loud, but they all feel it now. That sense of standing at the edge of something vast, something not yet named. Maybe this image is a puzzle to be solved, a mystery to be unraveled. Or maybe it's a warning. Maybe it's a message for those with the eyes to see. What if the real truth isn't in what the image shows, but in what it deliberately refuses to? What if the most powerful thing about it is not what's present, but what's missing? And what if that absence isn't an accident at all? That question lingers, reshaping curiosity into something deeper, something restless. Because now, this is no longer just about a single captured moment. It is about what came before, what follows after. The timing wasn't arbitrary, that much is clear. This could have surfaced at any moment, but it didn't. The precision of its arrival suggests intention, and that realization shifts everything. The room falls into a hush. Someone turns to the timestamp, their voice barely above a murmur. It's never accidental, they say. The discussions unravel rapidly, speculation laced with certainty. Some insist it is a signal, a cipher meant only for those who know how to read between the lines. Watch what happens every time, one of them mutters. It's like a tide changing course. A few nod, considering the possibility. This isn't just an update, not just another fleeting piece of content. What if it's an answer to something unspoken, to a question no one realized had already been asked? And then, the realization. This isn't just another moment in time. It is a turning point, a pulse that reverberates outward, threading itself into the larger conversation. The impact isn't confined to this singular frame. It is an echo that extends beyond it, shifting perspectives, altering reactions. He doesn't chase attention, someone states. He controls when the world pays attention. And that is the most unsettling part of all. Because the moment this image surfaced, the air shifted, subtle but unmistakable. Some dismiss it as coincidence. Some dissect every possible meaning. Yet no one is indifferent. Within minutes, the image mutates, replicated, and reshaped. Some twist it into something exaggerated, others strip it down to raw essence. It becomes satire, reverence, commentary, all at once. The line between admiration and mockery blurs, but the effect remains the same. Even laughter carries weight. Even humor spreads influence. Someone scrolls past yet another edit, and smirks. He'd probably find this funny, they remark, or maybe that's exactly the point. And therein lies the question no one can quite answer. Was this moment ever truly in their hands, or was it his from the beginning? The light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. John 1:5. Some things defy explanation. They resist being broken down, categorized, or confined to logic. They don't demand attention, yet they hold it effortlessly. They don't shout, yet they are heard. And those who have the eyes to see, see. At first, they tried to analyze it. They examined the angles, the composition, the balance of light and shadow. They searched for a technical answer, something that could explain why this image refused to fade from their minds. But at some point, the discussion shifted. It was no longer about what could be seen. It was about what could be felt. There was something more here, something unspoken, yet undeniable. The effect of it lingered, long after the screen had dimmed. Someone finally admitted it out loud. I don't know why, but I can't stop looking at it. That confession opened the floodgates, because it wasn't just them. They all felt it, and none of them could explain it. For some, the reaction was a spark, an ignition of something deep and dormant. It wasn't just an image, it was a challenge. It was a silent but undeniable force that called them higher, that dared them to stand with the same certainty, to move with the same weight. There was something powerful about it, something that made them straighten their shoulders and rethink the way they carried themselves. But not everyone felt it that way. For others, the reaction was unease, a strange discomfort they couldn't place. It was the way the subject carried himself, not boastful, not aggressive, just aware, as if he already knew something they didn't, as if he was seeing something just beyond the frame. One of them spoke up. "It makes me uneasy," they murmured, rubbing their temple, almost as if trying to shake off a thought they hadn't invited. Another agreed, voice lower this time. "It's the way he looks at the camera. No, not at it, through it." Silence settled over the room, because suddenly, it wasn't just a conversation anymore. Some felt drawn in, some felt the urge to look away. But no one was indifferent. And that was the most unsettling part, because this wasn't just about what they were seeing, it was about what was seeing them. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. Ephesians 6:12. Some things aren't meant to be understood at first glance. Some things settle into the mind like a seed, waiting, growing, revealing their true weight only with time. There are moments in life, rare, unmistakable, when you feel something before you can explain it. A shift in the air, a presence that lingers, a realization that scratches at the edge of awareness but refuses to take full form. That's what this is. They thought it was just another image, something to glance at and scroll past. But then the feeling came, the hesitation before looking away, the urge to return, to stare just a little longer. Some images fade. This one refuses to let go. It imprints itself on their minds, not as a memory, but as a question, unspoken, unanswered, growing louder with every second. "I can't stop thinking about it," someone whispers, barely above the murmur of conversation. They aren't the only one. The stance, the gaze, the way the world itself seems to lean around him, as if making space, as if expecting him. It's more than composition, more than lighting, more than posture. It's presence. And that's when it happens, when the shift moves from curiosity to something deeper, when they stop asking what this is and start wondering why. Theories begin to unfold, spreading like wildfire. Some reach for the logical, the explainable, others dare to go further. What if this isn't just a post? The question hangs in the air, spoken just above a breath, a pause. No one laughs, no one dismisses it outright. Because as wild as it sounds, there is something inescapable about it. The timing, the energy, the inevitability woven into every pixel. What if they are only seeing the surface of something far greater? What if this isn't random at all? Someone exhales sharply, staring at the screen as if waiting for it to answer. It feels too precise, they murmur. Too placed. Another shakes their head, but not in disagreement. It's a move, a piece being set on the board. And that's when the realization dawns. Slow, creeping, undeniable. This isn't just a photograph. This isn't just another moment in the endless scroll of passing content. This is something deliberate, something that demands recognition. And if it was placed here for a reason, then the only question left is, what happens next? One person scoffs, shaking their head. It's a misdirect, they say. He wants us to think it means something. But even as the words leave their mouth, a realization settles over them. If a single image can do this, can pull people into spirals of thought, can spark fascination, unease, and obsession in equal measure, then hasn't it already become something bigger? Whether intentional or not, the effect is undeniable, and that's when they stop simply analyzing. They start waiting, watching, bracing for whatever comes next. Write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. Habakkuk 2:2. There are no accidents, there are no coincidences. There is only a design, one that unfolds, one that reveals itself in time, piece by piece, moment by moment. And when you finally step back, when you finally see it for what it is, you realize it was always meant to be this way. At first, they thought it was just an image, a single moment, frozen in time, a snapshot with no greater meaning. But then, something changed. The discussion stopped being about what was in front of them and started being about what it all meant. Because this wasn't just a picture, it was part of something larger, a thread in a tapestry that had been weaving itself long before they ever noticed. Someone scrolls back, retracing steps they hadn't even realized they were following. And then, like a curtain being drawn back, the pattern emerges. This isn't random, one of them whispers, shaking their head. They see it now. Every moment before this one wasn't just captured, it was placed. Every appearance, every movement, every carefully or carelessly recorded second, all adding to something they didn't recognize until now. Some of those moments demanded attention, impossible to ignore. Others passed quietly, slipping by unnoticed at first. But now, standing here, looking back, it's undeniable. None of it was wasted. None of it was meaningless. It was always building towards something greater. You don't just exist, someone finally says, exhaling like the weight of the truth has just landed on their chest. You create something that lasts. There are people who come and go, who leave nothing behind but a blur, their presence barely noticed before it fades away. But not you. You leave something behind. A mark, a shift, an undeniable proof that you were here. And it's not just about what people see, it's about what they feel. Because long after the image disappears, long after the conversations fade, the effect remains. The atmosphere shifts when you enter a space, the weight of something unspoken pressing against the air. Even those who don't know, you know of you. That's not something that just happens. That's something that's built. They'll remember this, someone murmurs. their gaze still fixed on the screen. But they're not just looking at a single moment anymore. They're seeing it all, the whole picture, the road that led to this place, the path that stretches beyond it. Because this isn't just a post. It's not just another fleeting moment, lost in the endless scroll. It's part of a story that is still being written. History doesn't happen all at once. It moves in pieces, quiet at first, unnoticed, until it reaches a tipping point. And this is another piece falling into place. Another step towards something inevitable. A hush settles over the room, the weight of realization pressing down. The speculation, the theories, the endless analysis, it all circles back to one question. So what now? Because this isn't just a conversation anymore. It's not just entertainment or curiosity. Something has shifted. Something has been set in motion. And now they have to decide what they're going to do about it. Because once you see it, once you really see it, nothing can ever be the same again. A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, and loving favor rather than silver and gold. Proverbs 22. Some people pass through life like a whisper, here one moment and gone the next. They leave nothing behind but the faintest trace, barely a ripple in the water. But then, there are others. There are those who cannot be ignored, whose presence lingers long after they've left the room. They don't demand attention. They don't have to. The weight of who they are is enough. They don't blend into the noise because they were never meant to. They don't disappear into the background because they were never designed to be small. Whether it was planned or not, something has been built here. Something undeniable. Something that people can feel. Even those who don't know you by name know of you. That is not an accident. That is not luck. That is the result of presence, of impact, of a force that has been moving long before anyone realized they should be paying attention. They'll remember this, someone mutters, eyes fixed on the moment before them. But they're not just looking at this moment. They're seeing it all. The steps that led to this place. The foundation that was laid before anyone even noticed. Because this isn't just about what has been seen so far. It's about what's still unfolding. History does not arrive in a single instant. It moves in pieces, step by step, moment by moment, until suddenly it becomes undeniable. And this is another step forward, another shift, another marker on a path that was never meant to be hidden. Because some names may fade, some moments may be forgotten, but not this, not you. For many are called, but few are chosen. Matthew 22:14. Some moments demand a response. They don't let you walk away the same. They don't give you the luxury of remaining neutral. They pull at something deep inside, something placed there long before you ever realized it was waiting to be awakened. This is one of those moments. The room is quiet now, the weight of the discussion pressing in around them. The speculation, the theories, the endless analysis, it all circles back to one unavoidable truth. This is not just an image, it is something more, a spark, a shift, a ripple in the air that refuses to settle. So what now? The question is spoken softly, but it lands like a thunderclap. Because this isn't just idle conversation anymore. It isn't just curiosity or entertainment. This image, this moment, has done something. It has unsettled them, inspired them, challenged them. And now, staring at the screen, they can feel it. The pull, the shift, the moment demanding acknowledgement. One person exhales sharply, running a hand over their face. You can't see something like this and stay the same, they murmur, almost to themselves. But everyone hears it, and no one disagrees. Because the truth is, most people go through life as spectators. watching, observing from the sidelines, analyzing the movements of those who shape the world rather than stepping forward themselves. Most people wait. They wait for the right time, the right opportunity, the right sign. They wait so long that they never move at all. But this forces them to reconsider. It forces them to ask themselves the question that changes everything. Am I willing to step forward? The weight of it is almost too much, because deep down, they know the truth. They know that people like him, people who alter the air when they enter a room, who move with certainty, who exist with an undeniable force. Those people don't just happen. They are built, shaped, forged in the fire of decision after decision, moment after moment, where they chose to step forward rather than hold back. And now, sitting in the stillness of this realization, they have to decide. Are they content to remain spectators? Or will they take that weight, the awe, the discomfort, the restlessness, and let it push them towards something greater? The silence stretches. No one has an answer, but the shift has already begun, and nothing will be the same after this. No one speaks, but the silence is charged. The answer hasn't been spoken, but the change has already begun, and nothing will be the same after this.